There will be a turning point in how the policing is done in America.
The family of a man shot and killed by an El Cajon police officer is taking legal action against the city. Governor Jerry Brown makes a campaign stop in San Diego, urging voters to say no to Proposition 53. And election officials in Arizona take a hike to make sure Native Americans get a chance to cast their ballots this election. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. The widow and daughters of a man shot and killed by an El Cajon police officer are planning to sue the city. Alfred Ilonggo was shot after his sister called 911 seeking help for his mental distress. KPBS's Frontiers reporter Jean Guerrero is live at the El Cajon Police Department with the story. Jean?
I just tried to get a comment about the new claim from the El Cajon Police Department behind me, but they're declining to say anything right now. The family held a press conference about the new claim today. They said they're seeking damages as well as reforms in how police deal with the mentally ill. This is the Ilonggo family's second claim against the city of El Cajon. The first was filed last month by Ilonggo's sister. Attorney Brian Dunn spoke at today's press conference.
We are here for one reason, and we are here for one reason only. We don't want another family to go through this.
What is it you're claiming? What are you seeking in your claim?
Ilonggo's father, Richard Ilonggo, also spoke. He says he thinks his son was murdered by El Cajon police and called for better police training.
The death of Alfred Ilonggo is a turning point in America. It's a turning point in the justice system in America. There will be a turning point in how the policing is done in America.
He says he hopes police will stop shooting unarmed black men. The family announced a day of protest to demand justice on the 29th of this month. Reporting from El Cajon, Jean Guerrero, KPBS News.
With 5 days to go before Election Day, a new survey is showing a drop in support for both stadium measures on the San Diego ballot. Here are the numbers on Measure C, the Chargers' proposal for a new downtown stadium and convention center annex. 48% of those polled said they'd vote no, 40% said they vote yes, and 21% said they still don't know. And for Measure D, the Citizens Plan, 41% said they vote no, 34% said they vote yes, and 26% are still undecided. Both measures need 2/3 majority to pass. The survey was done for the San Diego Union Tribune and our media partner 10 News. Pollsters talked to 750 San Diego voters earlier this week. No on Prop 53. That's how Governor Jerry Brown wants people to vote. He spoke out against the proposition today in San Diego. Governor Brown stood with union members at the headquarters for an electrical workers union in Kearny Mesa. Proposition 53 requires voters to approve any infrastructure-related bonds above $2 million. Supporters refer to it as the No Blank Checks initiative. Dean Quarterpassy is the chief sponsor. Today, Governor Brown pointed out the businessman and activist has put more than $4 million of his own money to pass Prop 53, which Brown says is bad for California.
We have to go through all this effort in opposition because one guy with a lot of money says no to California. And he says no to projects, water projects, bridge projects. Who knows what infrastructure we'll need that will be blocked by Proposition 53.
Opponents say Prop 53 is dangerous because it doesn't offer natural disaster exemptions, meaning in the event of, say, an earthquake, the rebuilding and recovery efforts may be delayed. The California Democratic Party wants to ensure voters the general election is not rigged. The party has set up a help center in Sacramento to take questions and provide legal help if someone is denied access to a polling place. This is in response to Donald Trump's claim of a rigged election.
Basically, if somebody sees anything happening, or if anything's happening to them, or they feel suppressed or intimidated in any way, they can call in here and talk to a volunteer or staff member.
The California Republican Party doesn't have a help center, but say voters can call or use social media or mail them with questions or concerns. San Diego voters in Council District 9 will pick a new representative next week, and the race is heating up between the two Democratic candidates vying for the role. KPBS City Heights reporter Taryn Minto says a mailer from the Georgette Gomez campaign claims a Republican entity has endorsed her opponent.
The flyer from Georgette Gomez's campaign claims Ricardo Flores is endorsed by the Republican Chamber of Commerce. It also says that he's a City Hall insider backed by Trump Republicans. The group's name is actually the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce, and it hasn't officially endorsed him, although his campaign has received funding from the Chamber of Commerce through a pro-Flores committee. The Gomez campaign claims that the Republican label is fair because of the conservative stance the chamber takes on certain issues. It also points out that the chamber's CEO is former Republican San Diego Mayor Jerry Sanders. As for the claim that Flores is backed by Trump Republicans, at least 2 individuals who have donated to the Trump campaign have also supported Flores. But that financial support came through an independent committee that supports Flores, not directly to his campaign. For KPBS News, I'm Taryn Minto.
Sometimes there are things on the ballot you just don't know enough about to make a decision, so you leave it blank. KPBS North County Bureau reporter Allison St. John says this may be the case for the TriCity Medical Center Board, where voters are hearing confusing and disturbing allegations.
TriCity Hospital serves the region around Oceanside, Carlsbad and Vista. Its emergency room treated 65,000 people last year, and 2,500 babies were delivered at the hospital.
One of my kids was born there. They did a stand-up job.
But Oceanside resident Brennan Walker says he hasn't yet picked candidates for the board from his ballot to run the publicly owned hospital and healthcare district.
No, I haven't put much thought into that one.
But voters who pay attention to what's happening at their hospital may be concerned. 2 CEOs have been let go by the board in the last 3 years, both under mysterious circumstances and both with generous severance packages. Lawsuits just this year over Medicare billing and a new medical office building threatened to cost the district over $20 million. At a recent forum, one of the 9 candidates running for the board, Frank Gould, sounded the alarm.
I believe that TriCity is, for all practical purposes, broke, to use the vernacular. I believe that the hospital could be on the path to doomsday if it continues with the incumbents that we have guiding it or misguiding it as they are doing now.
This is not true. We have had 3 years of a clean financial audit.
Incumbent Ramona Fanilla has a different campaign message.
I can tell you, based on my years and years of being here, that this hospital is solid financially. We're going forward with a great plan.
Carlsbad resident Julie Peterson is one voter who gave up trying to make sense of it all.
I had no way of finding out anything about these people, so I actually left off. I didn't even make a choice.
Peterson does not think voters should be asked to choose who runs their hospital.
It should be something that is run by an organization, not the people.
Most healthcare systems in San Diego, Sharp, Scripps and UCSD, for example, are run by private non-profits, not by publicly elected boards. Healthcare consultant Nathan Kaufman says healthcare is getting more and more complex.
When I work with physicians and represent them with hospitals, they hire me because even they don't understand the business aspects of healthcare.
Kaufman questions whether a publicly elected board can steer the healthcare district through a huge financial hurdle ahead.
The challenge that you have at Tri-Cities is they're going to have to rebuild their facility in order to meet the earthquake requirements, and unfortunately their financial performance is such that it will be difficult for them to raise the money.
But the head of the San Diego Hospital Association, Dimitrios Alexiou, has a more positive take on Tri-City's future, especially because of a recent partnership agreement signed with UCSD.
Healthcare organizations, when they're adding services, adding new equipment, affiliating with other organizations, partnering in the community, those aren't necessarily telltale signs of an organization who's teetering on the brink of bankruptcy or financial distress.
Zach Beck of Oceanside is one voter who shares that optimism.
I do have a good idea of who I'm going to vote for.
Beck believes it's a good thing his hospital is controlled by a publicly elected board.
I do. I think that's going to receive some of the best service possible because the public officials who are elected onto that board are accountable to the people who are receiving the healthcare services directly. So I do believe that's an important thing.
Brennan Walker sums things up this way.
The way it's working now, it works. So until it doesn't work, I think we're all right.
Whoever voters pick to run Tri-City will have to navigate with a steady hand to survive the choppy waters of the changing healthcare system. Alison St. John, KPBS News.
The San Diego County Registrar of Voters is reminding people that they can vote early. The registrar's office will be open for early voters this weekend. The hours will be from 8 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. You can also drop off mail-in ballots at the registrar's office in Kearny Mesa or at any one of the 24 drop-off points around the county. You can find a list of them online at sdvote.com. If you can't vote early, the polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Tuesday, and the registrar says if people are still in line at 8 p.m., they will be allowed to vote. We have a helpful tool for San Diego voters filling out this year's lengthy ballot. It's an interactive page on the KPBS website. Just put in your address and you'll be able to find information on everything from county measures to state propositions to presidential candidates. You can find it at kpbs.org/voter guide. And on Election Day, our live coverage begins at 5 o'clock with the PBS NewsHour. They will have analysts and results as they come in, and at 11 o'clock, we'll have live local coverage of all the California and San Diego County races right here on KPBS. Marijuana is back in the spotlight in southern Colorado. Voters in Pueblo could be the first in the U.S. to reject recreational marijuana 3 years after they approved it. Peter Banda of the Associated Press has a story.
Then we have the purpling.
Raised on a family farm in eastern Nebraska,
I'm happy.
Ryan Kinnison now grows marijuana.
I just actually told my parents about 4 months ago what I've been doing for the last 2 years.
Not just a few plants, but 36 acres of it in Pueblo County, about 100 miles south of Denver. Since Colorado legalized recreational pot in 2012, Los Sueños Farms has grown into what's believed to be the largest legal field in the country. With an expected yield of 5 to 6 tons, security is also a big part of the operation. 289 cameras track anyone who enters the field.
Thank you.
Everyone needs a badge and must sign in, including owner Bob DeGabriel.
We've had a remarkably stress-free security issue.
But it's another issue that now threatens DeGabriel and some 180 recreational marijuana businesses, including dispensaries and cultivation facilities. The county could be the first to change its mind about legalizing recreational marijuana.
We do not want to be the Napa Valley of marijuana.
Charlene Graham leads the group that put Proposition 200 on the ballot this election. She says legal marijuana has drawn more homelessness to the area, and with it, more strain on local resources, including hospitals.
The money that's coming in nowhere matches the amount that's going out.
But DeGabriel says the legal industry employs hundreds of people and pumps millions of dollars into the economy.
They want to take away our rights to lease property to people who are growing marijuana. Well, I think that would be like going into a car dealer and saying, hey, I don't like you, I want to do away with your business.
With a measure on the ballot in Pueblo County, it'll be up to voters to determine whether the farm's namesake, Spanish for the dreams, remains a reality. Peter Banda, Associated Press, Pueblo, Colorado.
Nearly a quarter of California is out of the drought. That's the word from the Federal Drought Monitor, which updates the drought map every Thursday. The improvement is thanks to a rainy October up in northern California. Rainfall there was 3 times the normal amount, but it's not over for the rest of us. The bright red on the map means San Diego is still in what federal officials call extreme drought. There's plenty of sunshine and afternoon clear skies this week, but how long will it last? Shanae Shocker has tonight's forecast.
You know, I just really feel like Southern California gets teased with the wetter weather. It's usually off to our north, or in this case, it's out towards the Four Corners region, area of low pressure, bringing some pop-up showers and thunderstorms near Phoenix, as well as towards Albuquerque. However, for us here, that means that we are seeing some drier conditions for this evening. Actually, we're returning to some Santa Ana wind patterns, so it's only going to get slightly warmer, as warm as this time of year can get. But tonight, 60 degrees for your low, and we're looking at clear skies as well as those winds really push that marine layer out of the way. Look at the rest of the county. We're seeing pretty normal conditions. Alpine 49, Mount Laguna 45. As you head down into Campo, you're looking at 44 degrees. Chula Vista 57 out there. All right, so as we move towards our Friday, this is what I was talking about. This area of low pressure out here bringing some showers and thunderstorms towards the eastern parts of Arizona and towards Albuquerque, New Mexico, parts of western Texas. And then that combined with this area of high pressure, the rotation around this, really bringing in some of that drier air from the interior regions of the Great Basin, and that means Santa Ana winds for us, an offshore breeze, which means we're going to have some heating. Now, as we move towards this weekend, big ridge of high pressure remains in control. This low pressure shifts eastward and will continue to be dry out here in Southern California. Let's see how this plays out for the coastal regions. For your Friday, you're in the mid-70s, as I said. So Friday and Saturday, Santa Ana winds bring warmer conditions. But by Sunday, it just starts to turn around. You're back in the 60s for your Sunday. It's going to be a beautiful day out there. We're going to have sunshine all week. Temperatures in the upper 60s to the mid-70s. Beautiful along the coast for this time of year. And we head inland. Warmer temperatures do prevail for most of the week. Sunday going to be your coolest day, most comfortable day. 79 degrees for your high out there. Partly sunny skies as well. Come the beginning of your work week, we're back in the 80s, and by Tuesday, nearing the 90s once again, unfortunately. And as we head into the mountain regions, very comfortable conditions out here for the entire week. In fact, take a look. Friday and Saturday, 64 degrees. Sunday, you're at 60 degrees as well. And then our overnight lows are into the 40s for the most part. Sunday, the coolest day of the week, our overnight lows will also shift down into the upper 30s. So enough to put on a light sweater, but not too bad, nothing we can't handle. Into the deserts we go, and we're seeing very warm conditions for Friday and Saturday with a lot of sunshine, definitely warmer. Temperatures near 90 degrees. Overnight lows will continue to be in the 50s for the rest of the week. It's going to be a pretty warm one going in towards your work week next week. For KPBS, I'm Shanae Shocker.
NASA has been testing the design for its deep space capsule off the waters of San Diego. If all goes well, we may see astronauts here in the coming years as the space agency prepares for a mission to Mars. KPBS reporter Steve Walsh has the story.
It's a full-scale unmanned test model of the capsule for the Orion spacecraft. NASA and the crew of the USS San Diego have been working on ways to retrieve the spacecraft. NASA hasn't picked up astronauts after a splashdown since the 1970s. None of the people from the old Apollo missions are working on Orion.
So this capsule is different than Apollo. The technologies are different. The weight is different. Some of probably our standards for design are different. We've learned a lot since 1975 and before that.
This is the second time NASA has tested the capsule at sea near San Diego. The first time, the team had a tough time securing the craft.
But we now have 5 structural attach points that we've added. That's a new thing that we've done.
NASA has a goal of landing a crew on Mars by 2035. Funding for that mission and other long-range space missions is still up in the air, but NASA is taking several steps to prepare. They've decided the next splashdown will be in the waters off San Diego to take full advantage of having the Navy nearby. The next test of the recovery will be in December 2017. 3 more tests will follow in 2018. Eventually, the capsule will include a crew of at least 4 astronauts. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
San Diego scientists have developed a new way of seeing the microscopic world in color. KPBS science reporter David Wagner has details.
Electron microscopes give scientists a powerful way to look at cells on a molecular level, but the images they produce are black and white. That can make it difficult for researchers using these microscopes to focus on whatever specific parts of a cell they're most interested in. Now, like Dorothy stepping into Oz, UC San Diego researchers have added color to images captured using electron microscopes. In simplified terms, they use rare earth metals to paint certain parts of a cell, so they pop out of the black and white background. The researchers have already used the technique to highlight certain brain cell interactions with new levels of detail. UC San Diego's Mark Ellisman is one of the senior authors of the new study describing the process. He compares it to Where's Waldo.
Imagine a Where's Waldo scene where everything is gray, and that you can make Waldo stand out so that all of a sudden everything else in the scene disappears and Waldo is exposed. Then what we do is we color Waldo, because we've just gotten an image of just the Waldos. And then we bring back the grayscale, and then the colored Waldo stands out.
This 15-year project was also overseen by UC San Diego's Roger Chen, a Nobel Prize winner who unexpectedly died earlier this year. Ellisman says Chen was involved in a lot of important research yet to be published. David Wagner, KPBS News.
San Diego's International Airport has been named one of the best in the nation. Lindbergh Field took the third spot in the study released by the travel website The Points Guy. The list includes 30 busiest airports in the country. The rankings were based on timeliness, accessibility, and amenities. Lindbergh placed below Phoenix Sky Harbor International and Portland International. The worst rated airports were the New York area trio of LaGuardia, JFK International, and Newark Liberty International. Thousands of tourists were evacuated from a major Vegas casino today. Officials at Paris Las Vegas say on social media they lost electricity after a contractor cut a major power line this morning. About 3,000 people were evacuated when battery power for the fire alarm system ran out.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour, making sense of the Trump brand and the Republican candidate's business record. That's Thursday on the PBS News Hour.
An Olympian and El Cajon native has been named one of the grand marshals of the 2017 Rose Parade. Greg Louganis will serve as grand marshal along with Olympians Janet Evans and Allison Felix. The theme of next year's parade will be Echoes of Success. The floral spectacular will take place January 2nd. San Diego inmates visited El Monte County Park to plant trees. Today's event was part of the civics program, which offers inmates basic job skills in fields like landscaping and gardening. Low-level nonviolent offenders volunteer to participate. Officials say they hope the program gives inmates tools they need to thrive when they get out of jail. Inmates say the program also allows them to take a break from being inside the facility and getting some fresh air.
For me, you know, it keeps me in shape, you know what I'm saying? It gives me a little chance to get in tune with my thoughts and, you know, it makes the community look a little bit better. Most of the people that's here are here for a reason. You know, we like to come out and work, you know, instead of just sitting around. We like to keep ourselves busy, so, you know, it keeps us out of trouble.
The County Sheriff's Department collaborates with County Parks and Recreation to run the civics program. It's been in place since 2014. Arizona could see a record turnout at the polls next week as reporter Katie Pfeiffer discovered Coconino County officials have to go to great lengths to make sure all the residents, even those in the most remote parts of the state, are able to vote in person.
Matthew Rudig puts on his hiking shoes, gathers his gear, and prepares for a long 3 days ahead. His mission? To officiate a polling location for the Havasupai tribe members that live at the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
I think everybody should have an equal ability to vote in the process, or take part in the process if they're an eligible voter.
I'm standing on the top of Havasupai Hilltop. It's the start of an 8-mile hike into the canyon you see behind me. Now, I'm not trekking out there today, but Matt will arrive in just a few short hours to prepare for the polls.
I get there at 5:30 in the morning and stay till polls close after 7, and then close, you know, wrap up everything, put everything back in the bins, and pack up my pack. But it's a fun day.
Patty Hansen, Coconino County's recorder, said the unique polling location is the result of a 1965 Voting Rights Act passed by Congress that ensured Native Americans living on reservations had the right to vote.
Prior to that, Arizona had said that Native Americans living on the reservations were wards of the state, so they were mentally incompetent for voting. So it was really the Voting Rights Act that forced open for the state to allow our Native Americans living on the reservations to be able to participate.
Election equipment like voting booths, touch screens, and signature rosters are helicoptered down the Sunday before the election. Of course, today the Havasupai people can even mail in their ballots.
And they have that option as well, but we still like to make sure that there's a polling place center open for people to come vote if they so choose.
A right the Havasupai deserve, even if that means an 8-mile hike to make it happen. In Coconino County, Kate Pfeiffer, Cronkite News.
Now here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom on Morning Edition. As we head into the final weekend of this long campaign season, we take one more look at campaign finances here in California. And on Midday Edition, we're previewing the San Diego Asian Film Festival this weekend. That's tomorrow at noon on KPBS Radio. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great evening.